I think they have knowing enough to be dangerous. They have a great organization from top down.
Yeah.
I don't know from a quarterback perspective if that makes sense in what they did there. That was tough. And really, offense, defense, what's the driver of that team? I don't know. So I'm really having to start from scratch, from bare bones. I'm Ndamukong Suh, and welcome to No Free Lunch, where we talk to experts and athletes about how the most successful people in sports manage their money and grow their wealth. Danny, what's going on, man?
I know you're back in H-Town. It's one week closer to Super Bowl.
Yes.
College football season ended. NFL is here, but a lot of coaching changes. You know, a lot of coaches. It's a carousel. I don't know if this is more than usual years, but it feels like a lot of big name coaches have left. From Tomlin, you know.
Man, I said it early on in this year that if the Ravens didn't make it to the Super Bowl or deep into the playoffs and really get to the AFC Championship, they was going to blow that up. Look what happened.
Right.
The big surprise for me, though, is Sean McDermott and the Buffalo Bills. That just makes no sense to me. But ultimately, I mean, it's the NFL. Everything is new. It's what have you done for me lately, not your history. So let's jump into it right here on No Free Lunch, boss. Jabari, man, welcome back. We got another episode going on, talking about the NFL right now. This carousel of coaches. It's almost Super Bowl time. It is absolutely wild right now. What are you thinking, and what do you think about all this stuff going on?
You know, it's funny, man. And I heard you and Danny talking at the top, and it has been, Sue, like a big year for big name coaches leaving. You mentioned Sean McDermott being your surprise. I know people may not think it's a surprise, but for Mike Tomlin leaving Pittsburgh, that was a surprise to me. You know, because he's been there so long, and you talk about stable organizations, it doesn't come any better than Mike Tomlin. Like when Bill Belichick left, that was like, okay, anything can happen. But, you know, Mike Tomlin, you know, he's been such an institution there for such a long time. You know, Chuck Noll, you know, Bill Cowher, and then Mike Tomlin won a Super Bowl there. I didn't see it happening. I didn't. I thought he would, you know, eliminate all the noise and Pittsburgh would return. I mean, they were working through multiple quarterbacks. It was like playing musical chairs up there. And maybe they're just going to say, okay, you know what, let's go into this offseason, get it right, get Mike a quarterback that he needs, and he's going to get us back to the promised land. And only because I've seen a guy, again, you know, covering the Spurs, I've seen Greg Popovich last in one organization the entire time. The big question for me is, does Mike Tomlin get back on the sideline, or does he pull a Bill Cowher and never coach again? But I thought that was, you know, a big move. And for me, that is the job, if I'm a head coach, that I want. I want the Pittsburgh Steelers job. Absolutely. Give me that job. I will beg and plead. I'm turning down every last interview.
Why is that?
Because of their stable. Because the Rooney family are stable. You talk about a family that you don't have to worry about going up there and dealing with any discrimination or racism. This family, obviously, one of the architects behind the Rooney Rule. So I know that they're going to give everybody a level playing field. They're not going to interfere in operations. They're going to let me do my job. They're going to give me time. They don't go play multiple chairs with their head coaches, which doesn't create stability. OK, they're going to give me time to operate, and they're going to allow me, as well as the GM, to do and build a good program. And again, they're going to give me time, right? So many times these coaches and owners, they don't have patience anymore. They don't have the patience to build continuity within their football programs. And hence you have these problems. Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers job or Baltimore Ravens, because they've been pretty stable there as well. But I want the Steelers job. It just so happens they're in the same division. One of those two jobs for me, I love it. But Pittsburgh for me is my number one choice.
Yeah, I don't know if Pittsburgh is my number one choice, simply because you talk about they don't have a quarterback. The defense is really getting old, for lack of better words. They're going to start losing some of those staple. And really, that's what they're built off. The Steelers have always been built off of an elite defense. And I think they're starting to crumble on that side of the ball. Aaron Rodgers' project was a disaster and useless. Season.
Why would you say this is a disaster?
I mean, you take a 40-plus-year-old quarterback that doesn't want to play, self-centered, doesn't look at anything other than himself, and plugged him into an organization that you talk about stability and focus and drive. They need to focus and go back to the ethos of their defensive side of the ball. That is who they are. And find a quality type guy like Roethlisberger that can come in and he's good, but not the overall best at the end of the day. And I think they've yet to do that. I mean, the Russell Wilson project failed. Like, there's so many different things when you tried to mix that. And I think that's where ultimately Tomlin got frustrated and says, like, you know what? I can only do so much. Let me go enjoy my family while I have the opportunity now. Because one of the first things he did when washed his daughter.
I agree with. I think it was a frustration thing. I don't think it was a pride thing. When you're a head coach,
no, definitely not pride. Frustration. That's what I'm saying. It's a frustrating of what he's been able to do with all the different pieces and elements thrown at him. And again, I'm outside looking in.
Yeah,
but I've heard nothing but amazing, great things about him. They've recruited me to come play there, and it just wasn't a timing and opportunity thing for me. And I've had previous teammates that have played there and have enjoyed being there, but they're all defensive guys of how they build that organization, in my opinion. And that is where I think they need to go back to, while at the same time, yes, they need to find a good quality quarterback.
Yeah, but see, that's why I choose that job, because I get to help put my imprint. It's almost like when Andy Reid came over to Green Bay, from Green Bay to the Philadelphia Eagles a long time ago. Doug Peterson was the quarterback backup for Brett Favre for Green Bay a long time ago. They drafted a guy, Donovan McNabb, who was going to be their future. Doug Peterson just kind of showed them the ropes. And McNabb and Reid were able to kind of put the Eagles back on the map and where they've been for a very long time and kept them there.
It's interesting, though. I mean, there's a lot of other great jobs that are out there. And I'm curious to, what do you think about the Stefanski piece and him going to the Atlanta Falcons? And ultimately, like, I don't see a lot of success there. And I don't know. I know he has Coach of the Year and done some things with the Cleveland Browns, but I just don't see it.
I think there's a case to be made when you're a guy like Kevin Stefanski of maybe going back and being offensive coordinator like a Robert Saleh did, and kind of, refining your energy, what made you special, and then coming back and rejuvenating yourself as a head coach. I love what Mike Macdonald's done, right? Macdonald's, like, he's not going for a head coach. He went out, joined the Chargers, going to learn under Jim Harbaugh how to be a better head coach. And I think that's what Kevin Stefanski needs. Yeah, you're a two-time head coach, but when you get it done in Cleveland, you don't win the Super Bowl. You see Baker Mayfield take a shot at him. And I think you got to go and earn your respect again as an offensive coordinator. I don't like the move of him going to the Falcons. I don't like the move of Arthur Blank firing Raheem Morris. I think that was a premature move. And this is the type of stuff that I'm talking about with stability. The Atlanta Falcons, as good as an organization as they've been away from football, doing great things in community down in Atlanta. I've been there. I saw it with my own eyes. But they stink as an organization making decisions on the football field, and they feel like Matt Ryan's going to go and save the day, similar to what similar to what John Elway has done in Denver, and bringing in John Lynch in San Francisco. Maybe the ex-player comes in with a fresh pair of eyes to make the day. Now you're using copy and paste for me that you don't even know if you work. I think you had something special. They had a quarterback problem. You bring back Raheem Morris. You give him an opportunity. You build stability starting with your head coach. But they haven't proven that again. And I think going out and getting stuff as Kevin Stefanski, it's going to blow up in their face like every other head coaching move that they've made over the last 10 years.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought it up, because the Matt Ryan piece I really don't understand. I don't understand where that comes from and how that is of value to an organization. And he just came from being in the booth, or more or less an analyst on CBS. And what experience, what time has he spent? And I don't know all those different things. I'm just asking questions at the end of the day. So I'd love to be educated just to understand where that comes into play to be able to give an unfair advantage of him being back there, other than him being potentially close with the ownership.
He's the golden boy. He got them to the Super Bowl, the last guy to get them there. So I can see it. Why?
And did what?
He blew a lead to the guy that we were just talking about.
And did what? Yeah, I know.
But still, they got there under his watch. And so if you're Arthur Blank, you're thinking, look, the last time I had any smell of success, this guy was basically running the show as my quarterback. Why don't I bring him back now? Again, the same way that John Elway with the Denver Broncos. You saw what that's. So look, the Denver Broncos had a great season. John Elway architect that team. Maybe Matt Ryan could do it. I'm not saying that he can't. I'm just saying, what difference does it make if every single 2-3 years you're going to change your head coach? It doesn't make a difference if you don't have stability starting with the number one person who's running your operation and the head coach. If they can't get that together, if they don't know that, the Atlanta Falcons are going to find themselves back where they started this season. Find another head coach, and then Matt Ryan's going to be on the hot seat. I don't like it.
Yeah, I would like an opportunity. I'm going to say right here, right now, I would like an opportunity, just like Matt Ryan got, to go and roll the dice and see what happens with the decisions I make.
Can I be your communications guy if you did that?
No question. No question.
Yes.
You were hired, boss.
I appreciate it. And guess what?
Everybody's hired.
I hope Jerry Jones hears this. And it's with the Cowboys. He calls you up and says, Ndamukong, I want you to come down. I'm tired of being a GM. If the Cowboys, Ndamukong Suh, if they were serious, if they came and they offered you an opportunity to come and be the GM, right? Jerry says, I'm stepping aside. I want my sons to concentrate on the business and the brand. I want you to run the football side. And Ndamukong Suh, I heard you on the podcast, No Free Lunch, your free podcast. You're with that smart guy, Jabari Young. I know. I want you to come in as a GM. You say no?
No, I'm definitely doing it.
Good.
But do I have real decision-making power and opportunity to co-architect with ownership, with my head coach, and collaboratively put this team together? Oh, I have a great ethos of how we go.
Under one condition, you got to keep Brian Schottenheimer for 3 years.
No problem. I need to get to know him.
That means you like Brian Schottenheimer then, right?
No, I'm not saying that. I need to get to know him first. But it's also, we got to give that man a fair chance and a fair opportunity. No different than college, that you have to give the ability to say, hey, at least let this coach get 5 to 6 years to have built his freshman class to his senior class. And then you, at the end of the year, if he's not had great progress, then you make a decision after that. So Schottenheimer, without question, gets that rope.
Yeah. So you keep him, even if he doesn't maybe, make it to the playoffs again next year. Again, continuity at stake here. Dak would be going, if you fire him, Dak is going through another offensive coordinator. He's going through another head coach. Yeah. And at that point, it's like, man, this dude's head's probably spinning, right? So if you listen, Cowboys had a great offense, this past season, right? There's no telling in that. I saw a lot of motion stuff. I think a lot of stuff that, you start to see guys, like Kyle Shanahan and Mike McDonald added to their offense. I think you'll see more of that with Brian Schottenheimer next year. And I think the Cowboys offense will be fine, but they still got to overcome that division. The Eagles are not going anywhere. If they don't make the playoffs, does he keep his job after next year?
Yeah, I think he does, because ultimately, I think where they struggled this year and watching them play, they had all cylinders going on offense. They struggled on defense and a little bit on special teams, but that's a continuity of a mindset to special teams and a focus. Yeah. But ultimately, their defense struggled. So where do you go back and get those staples? They started to make some good quality moves, getting some of the interior guys right. They got to be able to build in and around that. You got to have a strong defense down the middle. I don't know if they had that strong defense down the middle, and then obviously have some special corners and some different things of that nature. And do we go do that through the draft? Do we do that from free agency? I mean, I think I saw something the other day. They have an ability to have a crazy amount of cap space. So we go make a splash. Yeah. I'm not saying we got to go get the sexiest, but we got to go get the right players that understand that are going to get us what we need from a defensive perspective, add some different dimensions. They've got great talent on offense. How do we add some dimensions there as well? Like, it's an all-encompassing ecosystem of how you're going to put that together.
By the time maybe people hear this, man, every job might be filled, right? But out of all the ones that were available this offseason, which one don't you want? Which one do you run away from and says, I don't want anything to do with that job. I don't give a damn. I'm staying where I'm at as a maintenance man, right? I don't want nothing to do with that job. What are you running away from? What job, NFL head coaching job, was just too unattractive?
I mean, I would have to say the Atlanta Falcons as of right now. But even actually, you know what? I pulled that back. Let me rephrase.
Go ahead and say them.
I'd say the Miami Dolphins. I'm not interested in that job.
And you played there too. I mean, like, I want to know why. Sure. Why?
And I think they have, knowing enough to be dangerous, they have a great organization from top down.
Yeah.
I don't know from a quarterback perspective if that makes sense in what they did there. That was tough. And really, offense, defense, what's the driver of that team? I don't know. So I'm really having to start from scratch, from bare bones. Do I have draft picks? I don't know that. Yeah. Do I have capital to do the things that I need to do from a cap space perspective? I don't know that. And like, yes, you can see all the different pieces that Miami does have, but do they have the true focus of everything is dialed in from that organization and what they need to get done? I don't see it.
Yeah. When you were talking, I felt like I was going to come up off of the pick that I would say. And I said, you make a good point. Miami has been in total disarray. Stephen Ross, he was offered $15 billion for that franchise reportedly. And, he said $15 billion. I'm surprised he didn't take it, right? If that was the true amount. But I'm going to stick with my pick because I still think Miami has the allure of just Miami, right? It's still Miami. And I still feel like they can get it together. I don't want anything to do with Las Vegas Raiders. I don't want anything to do with what it comes with. Having to fight off players, the allure of the Sin City. I love Tom Brady as a player, as an analyst. I don't know how he is a decision maker behind the booth.
City in Miami.
Yeah, no, but they got the gambling stuff out there, and you could do everything in Las Vegas. Ndamukong Suh, you could drink, you can smoke, you could do anything in Las Vegas. It's too much, and you're talking about a group of individuals and football players who want to have fun and want to have a good time. Am I going to be able to control 50 men from going out in Miami one night? I just feel like it's too much of a headline headache for me every single year having to put up with something. Like even a small thing, I would not want anything to do with that job. And again, I love Tom Brady. You think he's great as an analyst. I don't know why people maybe even, think that he's not. I think he's gotten better. I think he's good. And phenomenal football player. I don't know how he's a decision maker. I don't know how he is. Is he a micromanager behind the scenes when it comes to running? I don't want anything to do with that job. I just don't. Not now. And then you talk about Mark Davis. That job to me just seems it's too unappealing. So I wouldn't want anything. They fired Pete Carroll after 1 year. I mean, come on, man. Pete Carroll. No, I don't want anything to do with the Raiders job. I like the Falcons job. I just don't think the Falcons they don't have the continuity factor in, but I like that job because if you win down in Atlanta, Arthur Blank has shown that he'll give you a shot, but I wouldn't want the Raiders job.
Yeah. I could agree with the Raiders piece, and I think they have the same similar problems as Miami does in some of those different pieces. Granted, I would put Miami above them from a destination perspective and some things of that nature of outside of Vegas. But I mean, Vegas, you win in Vegas. I mean, you're on the world. You're on top of the world. And I would say this on the flip side. If I were to take either one of those jobs as a head coach or a GM or a president or anything, I need to have a 10-year plus contract because it's going to take that long to try and get those
10 years
flipped around. Yeah.
10 years? That's the length of that's the length of a CBA and a media deal. You want that long? 10 years? It takes that long?
I want commitment to be able to re-architect what I need to get done.
So you basically say, hey, you want an owner to say, hey, man, I'm going to give you an entire collective bargaining agreement era, right? As well as a media contract era to get this thing right.
If you believe in me, I mean, that's what we're talking about. I'm not looking to do this from a short-term perspective. I'm not trying to move my family left and right and 2 years here, 3 years there. Nah.
That's a long time, man. Listen, I want you to get the 10-year deal. You know why? Because that means I got 10 years of security too as your communications guy. Whatever organization it is. 10 years is set. Look, we're not going anywhere, family. You sat here for 10 years. I hope you get it, man. My number is 2. Well, I can't give it to you on it, but give me a call.
I got you, man. I appreciate you, Jabari, man. Welcome back, and I appreciate you right here on No Free Lunch, boss, man. This was a great one.
Always good to see you, Sue. Thanks, man.
The information provided on this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial or legal advice. Always consult with a qualified financial and or legal professionals before making any legal or financial decisions or investments. Yo, man, a lot of different conversations with Jabari and where the NFL is opening up so many coaching carousel items, but some interesting picks on teams. I do like a challenge, and I think Miami and the Raiders would be an absolute big challenge. Some easier low-hanging fruit, the Ravens, the Steelers, but ultimately, man, it's a great position to be in if you can be a part of leading one of those great NFL 32 teams. But hope you enjoyed the conversation. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe to No Free Lunch right here on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts.